You had David Goggins in the lab to study him for fear. What did you learn from looking at that guy?
Yeah, David's great. I always chuckle with David because, the one thing about David is what you see on social media is actually what you get when you interact with David. We worked long hours one day and everyone was ready to tap out. This was a bunch of people in Silicon Valley for a day, doing some workshop type thing. And he was changing into his running shorts midway. He was going to run to the airport, and he ran to the airport as far as I know.
To get his flight?
I believe so, But there was this moment of, should we continue? Should we take a break? And he was like, no, let's keep going. Everything you see and read and hear about David is exactly how he shows up. It's really wonderful. He came to the lab and he did, we have a virtual version of the shark thing. Which of course is not the same as the real experience. But for people who are afraid of sharks, it's quite scary for them and allows us to study fear. He's very afraid of sharks, which was sort of amusing to me, given that as a SEAL, he had to spend a lot of time in water. But he was first one in, wanted to do the VR, talked about how he didn't like it, but that's why he did it. Constant testing himself. In fact, I think even though David's quite successful, and has many, many options of how to spend his time, I believe this is correct. I think right now he's doing fire jumping. He's fighting fires in the wilderness by zip lining in or fast lining in or jumping out of planes. So he's constantly pushing that friction lever to create or build or further build this thing about leaning into friction. And this is a term that isn't really scientific, but that I decided to coin because this idea of limbic friction, that when we're very tired and we need to be in action, or when we're very stressed and we need to perform in a more calm and controlled way, there's friction on both sides. Getting out of bed when we're exhausted, hard, very hard often. Leaning into action in a calm and deliberate way when we're freaking out, like going to give a public lecture if one has fear of public speaking, also hard. So this limbic friction, and David just seems to seek what I call limbic friction in every domain of life.